Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channels for everything Arsenal and everything football. Thanks for being here. I hope you're all doing well. And in this video, I have a special guest with me, and you're going to be breaking down what Arsenal need to do in terms of formation and the lineup in the next few games. I know we've been through a lot, especially this season, the last 8 games in terms of formation, different players, but Kozi could be the right man for Arsenal. Let's see what kind of formation it go for. How are you, man?
I'm okay, Blood. How are you? How are you doing? And thanks for doing this great job, Arsenal content, because I think we really need a lot of content creators for Arsenal. So I'm great to be here, and it's a big opportunity for me to always come on the show and quench a couple of issues, especially about the club.
Yeah, and we have a lot of issues. It's not just one, we have a lot of issues. This season, as everyone knows already, we've played 8 games, we've won 4, we've lost 4, no draws, very, very different from last season. At this point of season, I think we already had like 3 or 4 draws already, but it's going to be interesting. So before we even get into the lineup, because let me know what you thought about Pepe and him not playing and him talking to the media.
Yeah, there have been so many reactions around Pepe's behavior. Why did you go into the media? Of course, those are the critics. The critiques. Some people, thinking he shouldn't have gone out to the media. I think like that, like them. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Pepe is, going out and blasting Mikel Arteta and showing, grievances, because what is actually leading the media lines is Arteta's dressing room is, falling apart. Arsenal's dressing room is falling apart, and for me, that's a big problem. I think, Pepe, that was extreme. That was, that is done at a point in time when you feel that everything is going amiss, and everything, there is a shake-up. I don't think there is a shake-up in the dressing room and Arsenal, so I think that was a little bit extreme. But Mikel Arteta also understands that this is a guy very talented. He's a big name, a big player at Arsenal. He's a record breaker at Arsenal, almost the most expensive player we have ever signed in history. And that pressure lies on the shoulders of of Nicola Pepe. He needs playing time. He needs to prove. The fans are onto his back. The fans are onto his neck. You are a flop. We spent our money, we spoiled our money, on you, and you are a flop, and he doesn't have, a fighting opportunity, because when he needs to fight back, when the only way he can fight back, the only way he can prove to the fans is by getting regular team football, which is not getting. You bring him on in the 70s, in the 80s. At times you don't bring him on, and the fans are criticizing him, and you're playing a player ahead of him who's not delivering. So I think it's two-way, but Pepe's decision was extreme, although Arteta has a hand to blame in all this.
Yeah, so at the start of the season, before the Fulham game, what was your front three? Which front three did you want to play for us this season at the start of the season?
It was Aubameyang at the center. I thought of Willian because I was excited that he had just joined Arsenal, and I still remember the Willian that was playing at Chelsea. He was not so consistent, I know, but he had, he was better than what we had. He was, he was better than all the options up there. So I thought he would play on the left, and then Pepe play on the right, because by the time last season, when by the time we closed up, Pepe was one of the players that had actually, changed a lot. He had improved a lot. Pepe, Mesut Ozil, Granit Xhaka, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, those players that really improved a lot under Mikel Arteta, and all of us thought these were his irreplaceables. Of course, I cannot forget Bukayo Saka. I thought they could be the irreplaceables in the Arsenal squad. You remember, the couple of games Pepe played against City. Of course, we have to praise Aubameyang, but there is, the assist to Aubameyang, even in the final, to the assist he made to Aubameyang against Chelsea. So it was Pepe's. There was some, effort from Pepe, and he was really improving at a very great speed. Then all of a sudden he drops him. He drops him out. So I thought my front three this season would be Willian on the left, because he's that versatile. He can play anywhere across that line. Pepe on the right, and then my striker would be Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, because I thought, and I still think he's the best striker in the English Premier League, one of the best strikers, in world football right now. He just needs to be playing along the middle.
So that was the first. That was before the season started. So I'm guessing, like all of us, we were so excited to see Willian, especially after that first game where he had 3 assists, or you'd call them 2 assists, but if you're playing fantasy, it's 3 assists. And he played really well. There was that long ball to Aubameyang. We won that game at a canter, 3-0, clean sheet. Everything looked very rosy. The next game again, we beat West Ham 2-1, even though it was very tight. What did you make of the first 4 games before the international break? Beating West Ham, beating Fulham, beating Sheffield. That game Pepe played really well, and of course losing to Liverpool, where if Lacazette took his chances, we would have won that game.
Yeah, just before that international break, the first 4 games we played, there was, I felt, and every Arsenal fan knows, that there was something missing. There was a little thing missing, but we were not missing a lot. The only thing we were missing is, how do we get that ball in the final third? How do we get into the dangerous spots of the opponent? How do we penetrate the opponent and become, venom? Spit that venom deep down in their systems. That was the only problem against Fulham. You saw that. You look at the goals we scored against Fulham: the header from Gabriel Magalhaes, this thunder strike from Aubameyang, and the pickup of Alexander Lacazette. Those were not clinical finishes. They were not goals, created. They were not created chances. We actually didn't split the defense of Fulham up. Against West Ham, if you still remember, the second goal, Saka, Ceballos, Nketiah, that was, we split their defense. We just, we split it, got behind it, and surely it had to be a goal. Eddie Nketiah, of course, delivering, and Dani Ceballos. But for me, the credit goes to Bukayo Saka. And even the first goal we scored against West Ham, Saka releasing Aubameyang, and Aubameyang delivering what a cross it was. This time, Alexander Lacazette doing the needful. It was a beautiful header. The celebrations, and the rest is history. So I thought there was that thing that we were missing, but it was not far from what we needed to achieve, what we want this season. But because against Liverpool, I would say we gave them too much respect. I think because they're champions and so on. And we had to play them twice in a space of 3-4 days. So maybe Mikel Arteta wanted to change that game tactically and everything. I would understand that. Sheffield United, 2-1, but I was not convinced. And this is where all of us started seeing that you can't have the ball. You can be playing the worst team in the league, because by the time we played Sheffield, they had not scored a goal in the Premier League. They hadn't. Yeah. And, they scored their first goal against us. I think David McGoldrick, with a beauty. It was a beautiful goal. But, in the first 4 games, we looked good. Had to score against, had to beat. But the only problem we had was, how do you get into the final third of Sheffield, of West Ham, of
Fulham,
and become that dangerous, that deadly. Now,
but for the Liverpool game, the Liverpool game, we created a couple, like four good chances in that game. Lacazette missed a couple. And that time we created those chances is because Ceballos came in and created a lot of chances for Lacazette. So we were not really lacking. And also remember, that was 3 wins out of 4. We also got the better of Liverpool and Leicester in the Carabao Cup. Very good victory away to Leicester. Probably Pepe was the man of the match there. We also beat Liverpool on penalties. Leno, probably man of the match there. And then we went into the international break. Transfer was still open. We wanted to sign, there was still a day remaining. We wanted to sign a player. We knew the games that were coming. And during that international break, how many players did you want? Okay, not international break, but when it was remaining 1 day to go, and it was still 1 day to go, how many players did you want?
Obviously, knowing that this, the situation we were in and how hard it was for us to sign Thomas Partey and, our targets in the summer, I thought we would go for one player because it was manifest. It was no
Yeah.
longer, it was no longer hidden. It was manifest that the problems we were facing at the time, could be solved by a creative, piece of player, just one player. And that's why we were linked with Said Ben Rama and Emi Buendia, because I think
Yeah.
Buendia last season created 83 goal scoring opportunities last season, and Ben Rama, I think Ben Rama had around 17 goals, or 12 or 17 goals. I still don't remember so well, but he had a couple of goals, and he created a couple of chances in the championship. So we were linked with those two players. For me, my wish was, if only Arsenal could get one of those. If only Arsenal could get one of those, because the problems had become manifest in the first 4 games, that we need a player who could lead us in attack. We were imbalanced. Actually, one of the problems that we have at the club is the imbalance. Very good defensive wise, all our efforts, are shifted towards defending the ball, and when we attack only through the left wing, which is Aubameyang, Saka, and Kian Tierney. The rest of the wings, the right wing is dead. Through the middle of the park, attack is dead. So we just needed a balance. A person who, a player who could make the balance. Even if it weren't Awa, even if it weren't, it weren't Zabuzlai, even if it wasn't a very profile player, even if it was Emi Buendia, and I wanted just one player. For me, I wanted Said Ben Rama, and I was really shocked that West Ham took him on for 25 million. I thought that should have been our signing, because the problems were there. They had we had seen them. We had a chance to correct the problems, but we were not interested.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get the lineup that we had in the first 4 games. So the thing again with Arsenal these days, lack of consistency in terms of the lineup. I know things like injuries is not his fault, but in the first game we started with Leno in goal, and then we started with the back 3. That's probably one of the first times we saw the back 3 this season. Gabriel was in the middle. I think Gabriel starting that game was a surprise. I don't know about you. I thought Saliba was the one who was going to start, and not Gabriel. And then he partnered Holding and Tierney, and then Niles was on the left, Bellerin was on the right. Xhaka and Elneny started. Also surprised that Elneny was still in our lineup. And then up front we had Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Willian. I'm sure you were happy with that squad at that time.
Yeah, at the time I was happy. Even before the result, actually, I was happy to see Gabriel Magalhaes there. I was happy to see Willian, there, and the job they did was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I was happy with the lineup. I don't want to become this Arsenal fan who always criticizes everything, because I'm really happy when my team wins. I'm really happy when everything is going right. I was happy with the lineup.
So we went to the second game. There was already a change. Kolasinac came in. Thierry missed out. Gabriel Holding was still there. And then Bellerin was still there. Saka was still there. Xhaka was still there. But Ceballos replaced Elneny. And then up front, we stuck with the same lineup. Aubameyang, Willian, and Lacazette. Luis was on the bench. Pepe was still on the bench. Elneny dropped to the bench. I don't know where Tierney was for the second game, but he missed out. Again, going into the West Ham game, did you want the lineup to be the same, or did you want a couple of changes?
I never wanted changes, because I know one of the things I've always cried out for as a fan is a consistent starting 11. Who starts? And that should be predictable. As a fan, I want a predictable lineup. Most of the the teams in the Premier League have a predictable lineup. Liverpool, if it were not for injuries, they have a consistent lineup for almost 2 seasons. Spurs have one. United, are trying to pick up one, and that's why Solskjaer is dropping Vada because of the time. Chelsea, I don't know whether they really have one, but you can see Frank Lampard is trying to forge one that can actually stick together and gain the chemistry. So I wanted a starting lineup, and I thought it would be good if we retain that lineup. Of course, there were some people I thought that they were not going to be in that lineup forever. Rob Holding ahead of David Luiz, I never thought it was possible. I know how much Arteta loves David Luiz, and I know how much David Luiz is important to Mikel Arteta. I know he starts the attacks. he's commanding, and the style of play. Mikel Arteta really loves defenders that play the ball right from the back, starting the attack and going forward. So I knew David Luiz would come back, but I was happy. I thought if Ainsley could get a chance ahead of Bellerin, and then I thought David Luiz coming in so that he settles with Gabriel Magalhaes. Of course, Tian is a sure. Honestly, I was happy. Honestly, I was happy with with that lineup. The only problem, of course, was where is Pepe? Is he out because for the meantime, or is he going to come and take his place in the first lineup? So that's the only question I had. Where is Pepe?
So we went to the third game, and your question was answered. We played Leicester in the Carabao Cup. Pepe started up front with Nketiah and Nelson. Saka still played that game again. El Neni started. Willock, Niles again. Kolasinac started. Luiz started, and Holding started. Of course, at this time, remember, we knew that Kolasinac would still go because there was still like 2 weeks to go in the transfer window. We expected Kolasinac to go in the next couple of days. And Leno was a surprise starting again because I thought Ranasson would start. We had Willian, Lacazette on the bench, Sabas, Bellerin. So at that time, I was wondering, has Pepe now been relegated to the Carabao Cup? And he also performed very well. Nketiah scored, and Fuchs scored an own goal for them. But Pepe, I think, had both assists or something.
Yeah.
So are you thinking after that game that Pepe should start in the next game against Liverpool?
I thought Pepe would, I thought Pepe needed, a start right from this, from the start of this the season. And one of the things that is impressive is when he has been given chance to start games and play big minutes, he has proved. He has proven to us. I know there are times he has come on and you're like, no, he's not doing the job. Yeah. But in that Leicester City game, many people thought Arteta is throwing away this game. I personally thought against Leicester City, you bring such a lineup, he has thrown away the game. But all of us were quite surprised. He caught us by, he caught us off guard. He won that game. Pepe had a brilliant performance, and I thought he needed to be rewarded with a start against Liverpool, just like in the in those performances in the Europa League against Dundalk. Whenever he plays well, I think he needs to be rewarded by a start in the league, because what builds consistency in a player is the constant good performances. He plays against Molde, give him against Aston Villa. He plays well against Aston Villa, give them the Leeds game. If he plays well against Leeds, take him to the Tottenham Hotspur game. That's what builds consistency. I've always thought he's a good player. Look at how was it Sheffield United? I think it was Sheffield. How he came on and the game changed. The beauty he scored. There's a lot of potential in Pepe. I still believe he's a player that can take us, to some bit of level, although he's not yet lit up. But I think if you give him one game in the Europa League, drop him in the league, bring him back in the FA Cup, drop him in the Carling Cup, he's never going to be the player we want him to be.
Yeah, Alex, I see in the chat, hi, Arsenal fan reviews, David, Luca, Ben, thank you for all being here. So going into the we beat Leicester 2-0, went ahead to the next round. So going into the Liverpool game, remember Willian had a very good game in the first game against Fulham, but he was nowhere to be seen in the second game. But Aubameyang and Lacazette played very well in the second game. Nketiah came in, scored a goal. What are you thinking for the Liverpool game? Because Lacazette had scored 2 in 2. Nketiah had scored. Pepe had a very good game against Leicester. Aubameyang had a goal and assist already. Going into the Liverpool game, what did you want? A defensive lineup, an attacking lineup?
Against Liverpool, I give them respect. I give a lot of respect to Klopp and Liverpool, because they have achieved so much in the past 2-3 years. They have the Champions League trophy. They have a league trophy. They have. Do they have 2 Champions League finals? So they have done so much. They have achieved so much. They have become one, if not the biggest club in Europe, one of the biggest clubs in Europe. At the moment, Liverpool, and their manager Jurgen Klopp. He's not a manager that you can, just see through. You need to put a lot of respect on his name and on his team as well. So, of course, I expected Aubameyang to start. He had started well. I expected Lacazette to start, because Lacazette had scored, like you said, he had scored 2 in 2, and of course he scored in his third in 3 games in 3 starts. So I thought he needed a start. He needed a start. I thought his run. I was excited to see him continue his run, scoring game in game out, because that is what he used to do at Lyon. He could score almost in 4 opening games, and at Lyon, 5 opening games at Lyon, and you're like, yeah, he's the man. So I expected him to start. Saka has, for me, I think, because Saka, I think he didn't start against in the first game. Did he start? I think he didn't start against Fulham.
I'll check on that. Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure I started, but I thought because Saka has a very good partnership with Kian, with Kian Tierney, especially going forward and defensive wise, they always do a very good job. You feel one of the reasons as why Tierney is not overburdened by attacks, through his lane is because of Bukayo Saka. He falls back very quickly, and he has played as a left back and made us think that he's kind of a left back that Arsenal can rely on if you are out of options. So I think I wanted Saka to play. I wanted Aubameyang. I wanted Lacazette to play. They had played so well. I was disappointed when Gabriel Magalhaes didn't play against Liverpool, because they were literally, apart from if there was an inside injury that was not revealed, but there's no reason. He had played so well in his first 2 games. This was going to be his first test. He leaves him out, and he plays Rob Holding, and I think he played Rob Holding and David Louis, which was not bad a partnership, but I thought Gabriel Magalhaes had to play in that game. So I was not really happy with it. But still, the lineup was not so changed. It wasn't so changed, because Lacazette started, Aubameyang started in there. Did Willian start? I think.
Yeah, you're right on Saka. Saka didn't start the first game. Niles started on the left. Then against Liverpool, we had obviously Leno in goal, and then back 3 of Tierney, Luiz, and Holding. Bellerin on the right. Niles came back in again. Xhaka and Elneny in the middle. Lacazette, Willian, Aubameyang. So the front 3 remained consistent, I think, for the first 4 games, all of them. And then we saw Xhaka and Elneny a couple of times. We saw Niles and Bellerin a couple of times of the wing-backs, but Tierney missed 1 game, came back for the other. Luiz was in for this and Holding, and then Gabriel was on the bench. Saka was on the bench. Pepe was on the bench. Ceballos was on the bench. He came in, created a chance, I think 2 chances for Lacazette. And obviously, we ended up losing that game 3-1. And then that midweek, again, we played Liverpool again after 3 days. This time round, we beat them on penalties. And this time round, Pepe started again with Willock and Nketiah, Saka, Xhaka, Ceballos, Kolasinac. Gabriel started in the Carabao Cup, Holding and Cedric. Leno in goal again. Lacazette came in. Were you happy with that result against Liverpool, or did you want us to win after 90 minutes?
It was more than enough for me. It was more than enough after seeing them, smash us in the Premier League. I thought they would do it again, but of course, for me. It was a game of juniors. Klopp didn't actually bring. It looked like Klopp was not so hungry for that win, and we managed the way we managed to hold them throughout the game. Leno masterclass. It was. I think it's courtesy of Leno that we are talking all the things we are talking today in that game. Courtesy of Leno, masterclass. What a performance he had. I think it is his best performance this season. It must be this season. I have not seen him so good in goal like he was on that night. It was really masterclass. So I was happy. I was happy that we didn't lose in the 90s. And when we went to penalties, I was only praying for us to win it, because there, we were on the same sled. They never have. They didn't have any, clinical penalty takers. We don't have so many clinical penalty takers that, that take penalties all the time. Maybe apart from Ainsley. I mean, so we are sure Ainsley is going to score. The way he comes on.
Brilliant. Leno was absolutely brilliant. I think he saved 2 penalties or something. Of course, that game, Elneny, his penalty was very terrible. It was saved, if I'm not wrong. And then Of course, we won that game. That was our third clean sheet of the season already, and things were looking good. Things were looking good. I'm seeing in the comment section, Canon Ford High and Adeyemi. I know you're saying Arteta is giving lousy excuses for not playing Pepe. We are trying to find excuses for both of them. We're trying to see what kind of lineups we put, and so far we're actually finding an argument for Lacazette starting. He scored 3 goals in 3. Of course, that Liverpool game, he was playing well with Aubameyang. Saka was okay, Gabriel was okay. Willian had a very good performance in the first game. Pepe was already playing well also in the Carabao Cup. Canon Fodder says we just don't see Pepe being committed enough. However, his comments in the French media outlet, it's clear he's not happy. Now, for me, that is the same thing I've told you, Alex, and I've told you, Cozy, before. I don't feel like Pepe was playing better than Willian in the first 4 games. I thought they were kind of similar, so I was okay with whoever started. We went to the Sheffield game, the last game before the international break. Willian started again up front. Aubameyang started again up front, but this time round, Lacazette dropped to the bench and Ketia started. And then we had El Neni, Ceballos, and Saka in the middle, Bellerin, Luis, Gabriel, Tierney on the left, and Leno. We kind of played a back five again in that game. We scored two goals, I think. Yeah, Saka scored and Pepe scored in the second half. We had another terrible, quiet first half that day, but McGoldrick scored, and we would have easily have considered a second goal to McGoldrick again. But we won the game. So after 4 games, 3 wins out of 4, were you happy?
I was happy. Like I said, I was happy. I was not contented though. I was not relaxed. I was not relaxed. I was thinking, what about the creativity? It was aching. It was aching in my heart. What about the creativity? What are we going to do this? Because we never won a game convincingly, Glenn. We didn't win a game out of those first 4 games. We didn't win any game convincingly. The West Ham game, maybe the Fulham game, you can talk about that, but for me, the goals were not convincing. The goals were not convincing. I want to see a goal that we can reproduce, a goal that we can replicate. So
yes,
the points were good. The points were good. The table position was good. We were running with Liverpool. We were running with we were running with Everton. Yeah, up the table, top 6, top 5. It was good, but the kind of football we were playing was boring. If you remember, Declan Rice dominated that midfield against West Ham, and you're like, Rice is Iniesta or Busquets or Xavi. Who is he? And then, it wasn't really impressive. The Sheffield game, the way they penetrated that, through that midfield, the Mark Godric chance, a pass catching across the midfield finds Mark Godric, Mark Godric, he's free, bends it, and he gets a beauty. I wasn't contented, but I was happy with the position. Of course, I could brag about it. It was a point to brag about that we are in the top 5. It was a point of hope, but we didn't deal with the issues at hand, and that's why we are really dropping. But for the first 4 games, of course, there are questions and angry points. You can talk about the negatives, like the way Mikel Antonio bullied Rob Holding in the West Ham game.
Yeah, so in the first game, in the first game against Fulham, we had 13 shots, 6 of them on target. The second game against West Ham, they had more shots than us. They had 14, we had 7. We had 7, and 3 of them were on target. Yeah, and then we went into the Liverpool. Go ahead.
The best team in the West Ham Arsenal game, the best team lost the game. The best team, trust me, they did everything perfectly. I think maybe apart from finding the spot, and they should have won that game or got away with the point, because Mikel Antonio just had that goal. That chance saved. Leno saving it on the line. He hit the crossbar. Trust me, they should have scored. They should have scored. More goals than us.
Then against Liverpool, they had 21 shots, 8 on target. We only had 4. 3 on target, but 2 of those chances, Lacazette should have taken them. And then we went into the Sheffield United game. Again, we had 6 shots, 5 on target. Sheffield also had 6 shots and 2 on target. So quite similar. And then we went into the international break. We bought Partey. We were so happy, excited to see him coming back and playing for us. We were traveling to City. People were saying, actually, so many people predicting an Arsenal win. This will be the first time we beat City in 5 years. That day, we actually had 11 shots. They had 13. We had 3 on target. They had 5. Saka was very good in that game. Should have scored. Aubameyang, I think there's a goal. He was ruled out or something. The chance or something. He missed a very good chance. And then our lineup on that day, again, we played the back 5. Saka on the left, Bellerin on the right, Tierney, Gabriel, and Luiz. Shaka and Sabas were in the middle. And then this is why I started asking myself, what is happening? Aubameyang played on the left. Pepe on the right started his first Premier League game of the season, and Willian, our striker. What did you make of that lineup that day?
You know, the truth is, when we all, of course, when we saw Willian as a striker, we knew he was playing at false 9, and there's no one who said Willian is coming as a striker. You know, is our 9? No, we knew he was coming in as a false 9, and of course, Mikel Arteta's explanation was quite interesting. He said, according to the gifts and style of play, Willian, and you know, the style of play of City and so on, Willian was good in that area, was good in that position. Of course, he's the manager. He knows better than us. He understands the players and the club and the opponents better than we do, because that's his job. He does the research and so on. But so the defensive play we played was really so awful. Reason, we played against the City that wasn't sharp.
Yeah.
I understand why Mikel Arteta set up his lineup like that, because City is a big club and, you know, you expect them to attack you sharply all the time. Yeah, I understand. So the lineup was maybe okay, the tactics, but we needed to adjust throughout the 90 minutes. Every Arsenal fan in the Manchester City game was waiting for that adjustment, that, you know, City are boring, City are bland, City are beatable in this game. Is Mikel Arteta going to adjust at some point in time? Never did he do that. He never adjusted. So, he sat back with his defensive tactics, and, you know, throughout the game, it's like, you know, he had come for a 0-0, but he was just disappointed to go away from with a 1-0.
I think that was the game that we had our best first half. I thought we created a couple of chances in the first half. Saka, maybe we should have taken one of them. Anyone who's watching right now, I was very happy with the first 4 games, the lineups in the first 4 games, apart from Gabriel, of course, not starting against Liverpool. But everything was okay in the first few games. Nketiah, when he started, he scored. When Lacazette started, he scored. When Willian started the first game, he did very well. But this game, I was very surprised that Willian started as a striker and Partey didn't start. Did you want Partey to start straight away?
Obvious, it was obvious, because, you know, we just needed to bully City. It was the best time to beat City. In all the games we have played, it was the best time to beat City. And the only way you could bully them was to bring out your best talent to the pitch. Bring out, a player like Thomas Partey. Let him bully their midfield. They had Rodrigo, they had Phil Foden, they had crap in that midfield. I just can't understand why Mikel Arteta just decided to leave Thomas Partey, on the bench. Yes, I know he had come, he had just joined the squad, he had just come from, Ghana and so on. But there are players that you need to start right away. There are players that you need to rest away. He started Gabriel Magalhaes, and Magalhaes doesn't even speak English. I think he only speaks Brazil, but he started him right away. At the start of the season, there are players that you just need to start right away, because, like I'm telling you, if we had bullied City in the midfield, they should have conceded. Even if we are not good at creating chances this season, they should have conceded more goals. We could bully them. We could make them. We could just stand on them. But we decided to be the little dogs, listen to their roars, listen to their backs, and get frightened.
Yeah, so as I said, the first 4 games I was okay with the lineups and the subs. Like Pepe came in against Sheffield, changed the game for us. And now against City, the other wrong thing he did against City was bringing in Partey and Nketiah in the last 5 minutes. I did not understand that sub. Why not bring them in the 60th minute to change the game? He did not give them any time to change the game. And then we went to Rapid Vienna. We won 2-1 with a changed team, but Aubameyang, Bellerin are the ones who came in and changed the game for us. And then we played Leicester at home, a game we were expecting to win. And then we had 12 shots actually that day. They only had 6, but we could clearly see what they were trying to do. At halftime, we knew that Vardy would come on and punish us. That day again, we had Lacazette, Aubameyang up front, and Saka was on the left. Willian missed out that game. I think he had an injury. And then Bellerin, Tierney as the wing backs. Partey started with Ceballos. Then Xhaka started as part of the back three with Gabriel and Luis. Then Leno in goal. How about that game? What did you make of it? Pepe again came in as a sub.
The Leicester City game, we only played for the first half. I want to be very clear. We only played for the first half. No matter who came on, no matter what we did in the second half, it was impactless. It was like pouring water in a cup full of water. There isn't anything you're adding, and that's what happened. That is what happened actually. Nothing, absolutely nothing we did in the second half. Maybe what we did in the second half was to concede and fail to concede more. I think that's what we did. We were so embarrassing. The first half, we had the ball, we had the opportunities, we had the opportunity to do whatever we wanted. We were at home against Leicester City. If only we had tried to score and managed to score against Leicester City, it should have been a different story now. It should have been a very different story now. But again, I don't blame the lineup. I don't blame the lineup because look at halftime. Partey, the way he changed that lineup, the way he changed the kind of play, the way we held the ball, the confidence we had when we are on the ball, the confidence when we had when we lost the ball. You felt like we are now a big team. When we have the ball, you don't expect us to lose it easily like in other games. When we lost the ball, we never expected, the other team to have it for 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes. We just, again, like I told you, we just needed a simple change of tactic. We are going forward, but we are faced with a roadblock. How do we break it? How do we break the deadlock? That's what we had to do in the second half. I don't know what we did. Morale was off. Motivation was off. Every player had turned off. Leicester City just got back in the game. Tielemans and Maddison took the shot. They were waiting for Jamie Vardy. He comes on barely 45 minutes. He scores. He gets actually, he should have scored a brace. He should have scored a brace because he had 2 chances. And I think the shoulder of Leno served the other. So he should have had a brace in that game. But we don't have so many opportunities we talk about in that game like they had. So I think, and maybe the David Louis injury, because it also turned the game. Louis was the only person trying to get us forward because the talking points in that game is the Bellerin chance he had in the box. If he had done better, but it was still it was still courtesy of David Louis, and maybe the goal that was cancelled. We should have never been cancelled. But for me, I think Leicester City, it was halftime, excellent, dismal second half. It doesn't go out to the lineup. It goes out to the tactics. If you're not getting into the final third, what do you do as a manager? This has been a problem for you since the start of the season. You're not getting into the final third. What do you do? Who do you bring on? You don't bring on Edin Ketia, for Christ's sake. There's nothing he's going to do. You're trying to get exactly. You're trying to break down a team that has become, defensive. A team that is clearly showing you we are gonna sit back and get you on the break. Break us if you can, and then you clearly show them that I just can't break them. Let me, I can't break you down. I'm bringing in, Edin Ketia, and these are the kind of substitutions he's doing, game in, game out. In the Aston Villa game, you're bringing on Edin Ketia for what? Is he the most clinical striker at Arsenal? No. Does he hold the ball when and wait for the support? No. Is he any gifted? No. Why? Clearly you ask yourself, why is he bringing on Edin Ketia? And there is no reason. Absolutely, there is no reason.
So,
So for me,
so
his tactics.
that is the
Yeah,
second game that Lacazette let himself down.
yeah.
He We created a lot of chances in the first half. Actually, Cozy and Lacazette threw like three of them. We should have been 3-0 ahead in that game, and he missed all those chances from Tierney's crosses and Luis. Luis actually played very well before he was subbed off, but as soon as we saw Mustafi coming on, we knew we were going to be in problems, and then they actually ended up beating us. And then we went to the next game again. Remember that is now 2 games after the international break, no goals. We went and we beat Dundalk 3-0. Again, struggled very much in the first half until we literally scored in the last 5 minutes of the first half. I think it was Willock and Ketia. Now this was already the third Ketia goal already of the season, so he was doing well in terms of scoring. And then we played United, probably our best result this season. We kind of matched them in terms of shots, but theirs were kind of ours were supposed to be goals, like I'd say that. So again, we saw Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Willian again up front. Now this game, I thought Willian played well. Now Aubameyang played well, Lacazette played well. Saka was on the left, Bellerin, Thomas, Elneny, Tierney, Gabriel, and Holding. And then Nketiah came in again, Mustafi came in, Niles came in. What do you make of that game or lineup?
Yeah, the lineup was okay. I think this is, but the credit goes to, I give the Manchester United game, I give all credit to Mikel Arteta. I think this is when we saw a Mikel Arteta touch in the team. For the in the other games, the Aston Villa, the other games, I've not seen his touch. It's like players coming on the pitch and doing their thing. But in the Manchester United game, it was clearly not about the players, but about the instructions they had. Mohamed Elneny, the kind of play, the way he played and the position, playing, going forward, and you're like, is Mohamed Elneny really going forward like this, confidently and perfectly? The way we were just about to make Manchester United lose the ball whenever they got it. It was clear about the instructions. Whenever we lost the ball, it was either 3-4 players hunting it down. It was clearly the instructions from the manager, and I thought we did a very good job. Absolutely a very good job. The lineup was okay, and he tried to replicate it against Aston Villa, and this is what I'm telling you. It wasn't about the lineup. It was about the tactics. It was about the instructions the players had. Look at how Lacazette was playing. Maguire and Lindelof just literally they couldn't come forward. They just couldn't. They couldn't come forward. It because of the pressure. Lacazette was mounting. Look at Partey. Look at Mohamed Elneny. The kind of link up. Partey goes forward. Elneny stays. Elneny goes forward. Partey stays. The instructions from Mikel Arteta were very vivid, and everybody could see that he had come to beat Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He had tried to get the better of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he did. It was the tactics on that day. The lineup, I don't know. For me, I think even if he changed lineup and he had given the players the same spirit, the same instructions, it would have been the same performance. Because against Aston Villa, the same team is it comes on the pitch and it's absolutely trash.
So those were 7 games in. Our next game after that was obviously against Molde, Molde, whatever you call it. We beat them 4-1 at home. They took the lead surprisingly, and they were actually running us around that park. And we played obviously Aston Villa and lost 3-0. That was quite recent. We've talked about it very much. What disappointed you most about the Aston Villa game? Was it the fact that Aston Villa had very many chances, or was it the fact that Holding and Bellerin were very terrible on the right? Was it the fact that we didn't create a lot of chances? What annoyed you most in that game?
The right wing has always been exposed defensive wise. Hector Bellerin, his side has always been exposed, and it's one of the reasons why I believe it's either Cedric or Ainsley that has to play on that side. So I was, I was really surprised, but not so much. Grealish, Watkins, Rossi Barkley, Trezeguet. I know I'm well informed of how Aston Villa are, how good Aston Villa are this season. I'm well informed. So I knew they were going to be troublesome, and they really were. Liverpool can tell you that they can even be worse than that. And I thought Mikel Arteta didn't, think about that. It wasn't, it wasn't the defense. It wasn't the way we defended. It was the way we casually played Aston Villa as if we were their mates, as if we were an officially 10th seated club and they are 11th, and so we are playing a team where with which we share ambition, we share league position, we share player quality. It was like we were playing a team. It was a West Brom Aston Villa game. It was a West Brom Southampton game. Same ambition, same everything. Arsenal up against Aston Villa. Let the best teams, win. For Christ's sake, we are way bigger than Aston Villa, based on everything. Is history, talent, quality, ambition, money. We are bigger than Aston Villa. And when it comes to the Emirates Stadium, they shouldn't stand a chance. That is what hurt me most. They came at the Emirates Stadium. They were so comfortable. It was like they had come for a win, but they just didn't know how many goals they were going to score. They scored the first one. Was it ruled offside? They scored, they scored one legal one. They scored a second one. They scored a third one. They were about to score a fourth one, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. If we had 20 more minutes in that game, it should have gone 10-0, maybe 12-0. The morale. It was like we were not shocked. There wasn't anything. There wasn't anything in the bodies of the players to show that they are shocked that Aston Villa is playing like that. It was like we're playing a team on the same level, but is on form and we are not on form. For Christ's sake, we are just, that hurt me most. That really hurts when you're playing with Aston Villa and they are playing a better game than you, and you're not waking up and you're like, okay, they're better than us. I think it's like we were expecting them to dominate the game. It's like we were expecting Grealish to tramp over our players. It's like we expected Watkins to get a hat-trick, but disappointed to get a press. It was all Aston Villa, and that is what hurt me most. It was all Aston Villa, and the commentators kept on saying there should be, there should be a time when Arsenal is going to dominate. There should be a time when Arsenal is going to get chances. I can see Cannon Fodder, in the chat saying, Aston Villa were the better team. Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. They were the better team on that night, but basically the ambitions of Arsenal, what we need to achieve, the way we take ourselves as Arsenal fans, we can't compete with Aston Villa, guys. We can't. And for me, that hurts me. That really hurts me because it reflects how we played against, was it Molde? 2-1, a 2-1 win, but it's like we're playing our mates. That's what hurt me most, man. That's what hurt me most. I expected us to play a very, a game that shows that we are a big team, a game that shows that we beat Manchester United for a reason. That we did, grab that win because, of anything. But I was really disappointed with the performance.
So the fact that what hurt most about what you said is Aston Villa came to our place to win. They just didn't know how many goals they were going to score. It's like they're playing a League Two division. We are going to beat Arsenal. We just need to know how many goals we're going to score. That hurt most. So I'm trying to look at it from not Arteta in or Arteta out. I'm just trying to look at the lineup that he has filled in the first 8 games. I know you said Niles should start ahead of Bellerin, but against Dundalk at home, Niles on the left was terrible. He was probably our worst player that day. And to make a case for Bellerin, both in terms as he played well and he played poorly this season. Against Leicester, he played really well, should have scored. Against United, you can actually argue, apart from Gabriel and Partey, he was the man of the match and us the penalty, and he was very good on the right. Against Rapid Vienna, Bellerin came in that game and changed the game for us. Don't forget that. He actually came in, created the chance for Aubameyang. Everything looked better without Cedric and better with Bellerin. And probably I'd say this season, Bellerin has played every single game. Surprisingly, in the Premier League, he's played all 90 minutes, all of them. Len obviously has played all of them. Aubameyang has played nearly all of them, apart from the game you subbed against United, and he was wasting time. Gabriel has played now 7 games, 90 minutes. Same with Tierney. Holding has played 5 games. So these players, most of them have played a lot of minutes. The player I'd say also Lacazette, he had like 3 good performances at the start of the season, so you could see why he was starting in the 4th game. But recently, that's when I'd say probably we needed to change. I wouldn't say Bellerin should have been dropped. I know he played very poorly against Aston Villa, but the previous week he was one of the best players against United, so you couldn't really make a case for him to be dropped. Holding the same. I was okay with Holding starting against Aston Villa because, again, him and Gabriel looked very solid against United. I understand Luis is a better passer and everything. Tierney, again, obviously is a first-team player. Aubameyang, Willian. Now, the thing with Willian, again, even him, he's played 2 games very well this season, but he has like 5 poor performances. That's why you can argue that Willian should be dropped and not Bellerin. So if you were the manager right now and you could only change one player right now, people want Willian to be dropped, Lacazette, Bellerin, and maybe Holding. From those 4 players, if you had to change one right now, which one would you change?
It's a big fuss, big fuss. You know, on paper, up front we look so good. We can call for Willian to be dropped, but it isn't an easy decision for Mikel Arteta. It isn't so easy, and at times I do understand him. Bellerin, for me, for Bellerin, just a minute, for Bellerin, there shouldn't be any headaches. He should be dropped. Let us try Ainsley or Cedric. Let us try one of them.
Bellerin, I want one player. One player that you definitely change right now. Is it one player? Is it Bellerin? Is it Lacazette?
Dropping one player.
Which one would you change from this lineup that we had against Aston Villa? And people in the chat also let me know if you had to change one player.
I'm dropping Lacazette.
For who?
I'm dropping Lacazette. I introduced Pepe in the lineup. Aubameyang plays through the middle. He is supported by Willian and Pepe. I'm dropping Lacazette.
So that would be your first sub, because I'm trying to make people understand that there are 3 or 4 players who've been worse than Bellerin. Bellerin has not been our worst player. He's had 4 very good performances this season. To say. In the Europa League, it's changed 2 games for us. In the Premier League, Leicester, he was very good. He was not the worst defender in that game. United, he was very good. Against City, is also very bad in the City game. That's when he was very bad against City and Aston Villa. But in the other games, he played okay. Diego says Shaka substituted at halftime. Not sure if for being ineffective or if he picked up an injury. But Chua scored twice for Belgium. Yeah, I've seen City of Ake has gone off. Aston Villa have a better midfielder, McGinn, Douglas Luiz. What do you think of Douglas Luiz? Because that is literally probably the first time I've seen him really play well. Against other teams, like against Southampton, he was terrible.
Yeah. We were linked with him in the summer. That's what I remember most. We were linked with him in the summer. I think for a couple of, were they hours or weeks? And then, of course, the transfer rumor died out. He's an interesting player, but just good for Aston Villa. He was at City. He never got a chance. He goes down to Aston Villa. I think he's comfortable where he is, and I don't see him as a player who's going to rise through the ranks and start playing for a big club. I think if he goes away from Villa, then he might go to a club like Leicester City. But he's a good player, committed. He gives his all to the club. I've seen him play like in some games, like you said, he's awful in some games, but when he's on his best day, you don't want him to be against your side.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. I was talking about. So I heard you saying Cedric, but in the 2 Europa League games I've seen Cedric start, he's been terrible. Against Rapid Vienna, we had no attacking from that side. Everything looked very dull, and against I think Dundalk was also very terrible. And so for me, there's no argument for I wouldn't drop Bellerin right now. but Willian definitely would be the first one. Not even Lacazette. Willian would be the first one. GK says Villa have midfielders that work hard, energetic, but nothing special. McGinn, the guy averaging 75% passing accuracy, wouldn't say they're better than ours. They just look better on the day our double pivot was overrun by 5 midfielders. I did not understand Pepe didn't start against Villa. Yeah, that one I don't understand because we already know Willian was a bit okay. You know what? Against United, everyone played really well, so I understand why you wanted to keep the same team. The only thing I would have changed about that was probably drop Elneny and have someone attacking there, like a Ceballos or something. But Pepe had already played really well in the cup, so you can understand, of course. Willian or Laka. GK says Willian or Laka. So going forward, what formation would you go for, Cozy? Because let me see. Lucas says 3-5-2 or 4-2-3-1. GK says 3-5-2. We can see a 4-2-3-1. Why not says 3-5-2? So our next games are Leeds away. I think I had it right here somewhere. Leeds away. Again, I'll have it scrolling down the bottom right now. Leeds away. There's also Tottenham away. There's also Wolves at home. Yeah, they are scrolling at the bottom. So Leeds away, Wolves at home, Tottenham away, Burnley at home, Southampton at home. What formation would you go for the next 5 games? What lineup and how many points are you expecting from those games?
Leeds, Wolves, Tottenham, Burnley, Southampton. Not very different from the last 5 games we have played. Not so different. Not so different. They could even be harder fixtures. They could be harder fixtures, but Mikel Arteta is trying to convince us that Aubameyang, Willian, Pepe cannot play in the same lineup. I don't agree with that. He has tried everything with Willian off the pitch, with Pepe off the pitch. Why not try Aubameyang, Pepe, Willian, all of them on the pitch with Saka. Yeah, with Saka on the pitch. Now, that's why for me, I'm going for a 4-2-3-1. You have 4 defenders. If you want, you have 2 midfielders at the pivot. Use those 2 midfielders at the pivot, no problem. Partey and whoever you want. It's Partey. Of course, I would prefer Granit Xhaka. I love the defensive combat. I love the defensive combat he gives to the side. So I would either let Partey go forward, and then Granit Xhaka, I task him with the long balls and then the defensive combat. So Granit Xhaka, Thomas Partey, the 2 in the pivot. Now 3 players behind Aubameyang. 3 players behind Aubameyang. Our problem is creativity. So if we don't have the quality that creates, let us get the numbers to create. So to the left, to the left, I'll play Saka. To the right, I'll play Pepe. Willian obviously comes in as the man that follows Aubameyang, just behind Aubameyang. 4-2-3-1. Let us try that. There's no way you're gonna convince us that Pepe, Willian, Aubameyang, that all of them cannot play the same lineup. There's no way you're going to convince us in that way. So 4-2-3-1.
That's the same thing. That is the same thing I said. I know Paul wants Lacazette and Willian to be dropped, but I feel like we still haven't tried whatever. I know Willian has been missing crazy chances and Lacazette, but we haven't started what we wanted to be started at the start of the season. That is, me, I actually wanted Pepe as the number 10. As Lucas said in the chat, why we're not playing 4-2-3-1. I wanted Pepe as the number 10, Willian on the right, Saka on the left, and Aubameyang up front, and then Partey and Ceballos or Partey and Xhaka, as you said, anyone there. I feel like that will give us more. And then GK says I'd play a variation of 3-2-2-3, if you understand. A lot of science there. Oba through the middle is just a disaster. Oba like to run onto the ball using his pace to cause damage. David, I think you can still do that as a number 9. If you play very good balls, like long balls and all that, like Vardy does, like the way Vardy did against us. He gets a lot of chances and he'll probably convert it. Yes, there's no guarantee that if he plays as the number 9, we are going to create chances. There's no guarantee. But if we play, as Kozia said, if we play all those players, Willian, Pepe, Saka, they can create chances, but not just two of them. And then Aubameyang is isolated on the left, and then in the middle we have no creativity. Has Arteta ever played Oba down the middle? I don't think so. When we thought he was playing, Willian played there. Palace just played Leeds. Your midfield needs to stop any supply of the balls. Now, before he faced Aston Villa, Cozy, they had conceded 8 goals in 2 games. Now, Leeds have conceded 4 against Palace and 4 against Leicester in 2 consecutive games, 8 goals. Which lineup can we go for to help us score goals against them and going forward against these other teams?
I don't know how fit. I don't know.
Tactics. I think you've already talked about the lineup tactics.
Yeah,
playing from the back, using the right.
For me, playing for the back, we just don't have the quality that that can do that. We just don't have the quality that can do that. Yeah, we have David Louis, we have Gabriel Magalhaes. They can start that ball. Leno is very terrible and awful when it comes to starting the ball. But from the defenders to the midfielders, then carrying it up front, that's a big problem. It's we always lose it at the but at the time, by the time we will reach the middle of the pack, we have lost the ball. But I think defensively he's doing well. Even if he doesn't tamper with his lineup, defensively he's doing well. Keep Leno, keep Tierney, keep Gabriel, keep Luiso holding. Any right back that he wants, let him use, even if it's Bellerin. In the middle of the pack, where he thinks that defending the ball should start in the middle of the park, let him have Partey and Grant Xhaka. For Christ's sake, that's enough defense. That's enough defensive shielding. Let us have 4 players going forward, and we know that these 4 players are committed to going forward. That is how we are going to score. Look at Aubameyang and the long balls we are playing. We are playing. David Louis is very good at putting the long balls in. Granit Xhaka puts the long balls in. Gabriel Magalhaes puts the long balls in, but nobody is there to chase them. Nobody is there to meet them. And I think Aubameyang, even when he was at Dortmund, he was one of the fastest players in the German Bundesliga. So play Aubameyang up front. Let all the balls fall onto Aubameyang. Surely he's going to get 2 away. He's going to put 2 away. He'll create an assist or cause a situation somewhere, cause penalties and so on. Run off the shoulders of defenders, and something like that. Create spaces for Pepe and Willian to shoot with Saka. I think the defense is okay. The 3 against Aston Villa came in not because we were, defensively too awful, but because we allowed a lot of, we allowed Aston Villa to have a lot of time on the ball. Think about what to do first. Think about what to do next, and think what about to do last. And trust me, even if you had the best defense in the world and you are, you're under attack like that, you're going to concede. You're going to concede goals. So the defense is fine for me. We don't need to tamper with it.
Just before you go on, yesterday I was telling Lee Judges about 2 squads that I want us to play, and there was a home squad and away squad. I want you to give me your opinion on them. I'll have the home squad first. By home squad, I mean the lineup I want to play against: Burnley at home, Wolves at home, Southampton at home. That is it. Like, what changes would you make from the remove the banner down there? What changes would you make to that lineup?
Is there any sound from my mic?
No, but yes? The internet is breaking up a bit.
The internet is true. So okay. At home, I think this is when we need to be more attacking. This is when we need to be a little bit more aggressive, go forward, create threats, bully teams, write statements, score goals, create opportunities, play a nice game, feel comfortable on the ball, feel comfortable on the pitch. It should be at home. So Yeah, look at this lineup. Look at this lineup. Bellerin, I'm throwing him out when we are playing at home. I'm throwing Bellerin out. Um, I'll introduce Ainsley Maitland-Niles for this case because Cedric, he also has a couple of limitations there.
Just check your internet a bit and then come back. It's breaking up
Okay,
a bit.
okay.
I'll bring you back. So anyone in the chat, let me know. Let me know that lineup on screen right now as you wait for him to come back. That is what I'd go for at home. He said he'll take out Bellerin, but for me, I wouldn't take out Bellerin. I think Bellerin is better attacking than Cedric, and I don't know. I don't know about Niles. I feel like we can use Niles in other positions on the pitch. Let me know what changes you'd make to that. Would you bring on, let's say, and make it even more attacking and take out El Neni and have Partey and Sabas in the middle and maybe bring in Willock as the number 10 or Williams as the number 10? And there's a couple of ways you can play that. You can even play a 4-4-2 as I saw in the chat and bring back Lacazette to that lineup and take out El Neni. Of course, in the next 3 home games, they have Wolves, who don't even score a lot of goals. Wolves don't score a lot of goals. Burnley, another team who struggle for goals. Southampton are very, very quite decent, so probably will be end to end if we don't attack. They'll smash us at home. So, what changes would you make to that? And Willock, where can you get space for Willock? Because I feel like it's unfair for him. He's had 2 man of the match performances in the Europa League, but can't even get on the bench in the league. But bring Pepe to the right, Saka on the left, Aubameyang, Ceballos, El Neni, Partey. Probably you can take out El Neni and bring on anyone you want. If you take out El Neni, let me know who you'd bring on. Is it Lacazette? Is it Shaka? Is it Willian? And go more attacking. And then as we wait for him to come back, let me show you guys their away lineup. Their away lineup, he can go for whatever he wants. Like a back three as he always went for, but this is what I'd go for. Maybe the only change I'd make, because I really still want Tierney to bomb forward even when we are defending, I'd put him on the left side, and then probably when Pablo Mari is fit, I can have him there. Pablo Mari will be back in the next game. I think November 21st is when his injury ends, so it will be good to have him back because I don't think Mustafi gives us anything. I don't think Socrates gives us anything at all. Bellerin on the right, let's stick with him. You can argue that you can put in Niles there is better away from home, maybe. And then defend. Yeah, you can defend, but at least create chances. So Pepe there, Saka there, Aubameyang, you can still create chances, have Partey there. I don't know how long Partey's out for, but I'm hoping it's not that long because if Partey's not there, all of a sudden, we kind of have the same lineup that has been playing for us in the last 2 years. So those two lineups, any changes you'd make, let me know. Let me see. I will remove El Neni and drop Saka into the midfield, then Lacazette up front. Yeah, that seems like something we can do. Let me bring back the home team again. That would be strong enough. And then now, if we play that lineup at home with what you've said, bring Lacazette and take out is it El Neni and drop in Saka. Saka can actually act as the number 10. And I hope that doesn't mean Aubameyang on the left again, because I want Aubameyang up front, maybe with Lacazette. If we play that formation and we still don't create chances and we still don't create and score goals, then that will be a problem. Because if you have all those players on the pitch, because right now I feel like we're playing too defensive, a bit wrong in the midfield. We're not transitioning well. We're using the left side too much. We have nothing on the right side. So you take out El Neni, okay. But would El Neni start for you away from home? Let me know that. Would El Neni start for you away from home? Let me know that. I'd play a variation of 3-2-3. I didn't understand this well, GK. Variation of 3-2-2-3. So that's give me your players. Give me the players you'd start. Give me the players you'd actually start. Give me the players that you'd actually start. Has Arteta ever played Aubameyang down the middle? He has never actually. I don't understand why Pepe didn't start against Villa. I know what you mean. We just look better on the day of pivot. Villa have midfielders that work hard. I saw you saying that Villa, we have better midfielders than Villa. I actually think they have better midfielders than ours. Grealish and Barkley by themselves, they're way better than what we have, I think, in terms of central midfielders. It is unfair to say we can't compete with Aston Villa. On our day, we will clean the house with Aston Villa. Yeah, we can, but this is not the Walcott and Giroud days where you used to smash them 4 goals in the FA Cup final. Right now, I think with Grealish and Barkley, give them a different dimension from what we have. We literally don't have a player like Grealish at all. Why can't we, or we're just set up to play on the front foot? Let me know, GK. Is that front foot enough for you? That lineup that I have on screen, or would you make any changes? Would you start Nketiah? Let me know. Is Nketiah good enough to start ahead of Lacazette, or who would you take out Lacazette for? Because right now, people want both Willian and Lacazette to be dropped, but for who? Pepe for Willian, but who for Lacazette then? Who will come on for Lacazette? Because Martinelli is not yet fit. Nelson is not even in the squad, unfortunately. Smith Rowe is still injured, playing in the under 23s. So it's kind of all over the place right now, kind of all over the place. But that is the home lineup. How Arsenal played against Villa shocked me. Of course, it shocked all of us. Shocked all of us. It was kind of disastrous because they would have scored 6 goals, as Cozy said. Aston Villa have a better midfielder, McGinn. As I said, McGinn and Douglas Luiz are better than what we have, unfortunately. Maybe if you play Partey, Ceballos, you can argue that they're better than them, but Grealish, he is the difference. Grealish can play for them on the left as the number 10. Aston Villa were the better team. I think as of now, they're even the better team right now, as in they have more tactics, they have a style of play. They score goals. They scored 3 against Southampton, 7 against Liverpool, 3 against us. They score goals from every angle. Trezeguet, Watkins, Grealish, McGinn, Barkley, all of them score goals. Like, how many players have scored goals for us this season? Lacazette, Aubameyang, Willian hasn't scored. Pepe has scored 1 in the Premier League. Ceballos hasn't scored. Partey hasn't scored yet. Has Saka scored in the Premier League? Yeah, 1 against Sheffield United. Our defenders don't really score goals like the Chelsea defenders, Zuma and all those players. Zuma scored, Thiago Silva scored, Chilwell has scored, James has scored. Literally the whole back four for Chelsea have scored, but for us, we don't get goals from them, from our defenders. I never want to see this squad play for the back. It would get ugly holding 4 and 5s. So you'd stick with the back three. You'd stick with the back three even at home. Because I feel like if we play that at home, it takes away from us a lot. We are not creating chances and we are struggling. We are struggling a lot as I wait for Cozy to come back. We are struggling a lot to create chances at home. Also, let me know what you feel about Willock. Does Willock deserve to start for us? Because, as I said, he has 2 man of the match performances and he doesn't even make the bench. Quite surprisingly, doesn't even make the bench. Why do we not play 4-2-3-1? That's the one I want to also like. Try Pepe as the number 10, try Willian on the right, try Aubameyang as a striker and Saka on the left. Just change things. Okay, we don't want to be reactionary and say, okay, now, today, sell Willian and sell Lacazette. They're still going to be here until at least January for the next 2 months. And we have a lot of games between now and January. 3 more fixtures in the Europa League, 2 fixtures in the 1 fixture in the Carabao Cup, and probably a semi-final if we beat City and a final if we win. We have a lot of games in the Premier League. Those 5 games I've mentioned, we still have to play. Chelsea at home on Boxing Day, Everton away. Very, very many fixtures that we need to play. So obviously, Willian and Lacazette will need to be used. We can't just play Pepe in every game. He'll need to be used. And right now, what Pepe did in the media, I can actually see Arteta dropping him completely, which will be very, very annoying. See, what about 3-5-2 or 4-2-3-1? 3-5-2 away from home, not at home. But 3-5-2 can work with Aubameyang and Lacazette up front, or even Pepe and Aubameyang up front. That can work in terms of pace. Remember Liverpool last season, Liverpool away? We played really, really well. Really, really well. Let me see the comments. I will remove El Neni and drop Saka. Sorry. Bellerin and Ceballos and Luis in a 4. I know it's risky, but I mean, how bad can it get? Why not when you're playing Burnley at home? How bad can it get when you're playing Burnley at home? Can it be really that bad that Burnley can score 4 goals against us? I know Bellerin is not a good defender. I know Ceballos is not a. He's played well actually. It's basically the same players that everyone's saying with the 4-2-3-1, but it's has had to do with getting Saka and Willian in between the lines and half spaces. I feel like if we play that with Ceballos creating from midfield, we can get some goals. But because now, Bellerin is not Alexander-Arnold, Tierney is not Robertson. We know we don't have that creative midfielder from in between the players and all that, and depending too much on Saka. Aubameyang is isolated. We are not creating chances. So like Willian and Saka as tens and with overlapping fullback and maybe Pepe hugging the touchline on the other side of the wing. I really want Pepe to be tried out as the number 10. I really want him to be tried out as the number 10. 4-2-3-1, play Pepe in the mid. Let's see how he does when he doesn't have to come back to defend on the right side. Every time he has to defend on the right side, everything is messed up, unfortunately. The away tactics is way too defensive. I actually don't mind the away tactics because we've gotten 1-0 defeat away to City. We usually lose by 3 or 4. Yes, Liverpool was the same result from last year, but if Lacazette took his chances, we would have gotten something from that game. So away from home, like next game against Tottenham and Leeds, I want to see how he does in those games, what formation he'll go for, and what kind of result we'll get. The away tactics is way too defensive. Everyone from the midfield to the back is defensive. Partey, Elneny pair not great. You say Partey and Elneny not great, but against United, you'd say the partnership was very, very good against United. They played really well. One player went forward, the other stayed back. Another one went forward, stayed back. The communication was okay in that game. I will play Sabas, but he will play directly behind the striker. Behind the striker, okay. Hi, Frank. Thanks for being here. I don't know if his internet is going to be sorted out, but yeah. One more time again, at home, this is what I'd go for. That can switch to a 4-2-3-1 if you want and drop Elneny and bring in maybe Willian and Lacazette and let's see how they do in the number 10 position. And then away from home, that is the lineup I'd put. But yeah, I wanted his opinion, but it looks like he's having trouble with his internet. But thank you everyone who came on to watch. David, obviously, thank you for your interaction. Frank, GK, thank you for interaction. Why not? Always thank you. Diego C. Palace. Let me see. Obviously, Luca, Canon, Alex, thank you. Am I forgetting anyone? Ben, HJ90, Alex, Adeyemi, Arsenal fan reviews. Thank you all for watching, man. I just wanted to see and to make an excuse for Arteta not playing Willian or playing Willian some games. I just wanted to find what he's thinking and his reasoning behind it. But yeah, I think we've gone for too long. Next, we have a couple of days to rest and wait for the Premier League games. I really hope we see a difference. In case you haven't watched my show with Lee Judges yesterday, make sure you check that out. But as of now, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. Keep staying safe, and I'll catch up with you guys later.